responsibilities?
I'm responsible to see that the voter registration process and the election process is carried out for Election Day.
Okay, how many polling places are there in your country?
County.
County, I mean.
Well, we have 1,319 election districts, and they are in 850 different locations in the county.
Okay, what kind of voting machines do you use?
We have two types. It's the ES&S Ivotronic. That's the touch screen that people vote on Election Day. And for people that vote by absentee ballot, we use an optical scan machine that tabulates the votes on election night.
Oh, how do you make sure the machines work?
We do extensive testing before the election. This election, each voting machine, over 400 votes were tabulated on each voting machine to verify that they tabulated correctly. And on Election Day, we hire a CPA firm to actually test vote the machines on Election Day and videotape it to verify that somebody didn't put some kind of software bug that only would show up on Election Day.
Who are the people who staff the polling places? Where do those people come from?
They can be publicly elected in Pennsylvania, the judge and the two inspectors. 30 years ago, in almost every district, they were publicly elected. Nowadays, the system is it doesn't work. It still can work that way, but mainly they are paid volunteers. They are people that step forward to volunteer.
And how do you sort of, for lack of a better word, police the polling places to be sure everything is done on the up and up?
Well, we use approximately 120 county employees as rovers that go around to these polling places. And then we have 56 zone custodians that have general oversight over those rovers to visit the polling places. And in addition, the political parties and candidates are entitled to appoint people at each polling place to see that their rights and response, are being that there's nothing untoward going on.
Since this is a primary election year for the presidential candidates, are you expecting a heavy turnout this year, or what are you expecting to see at the polls?
We're expecting about half of the registered voters, the Democratic and Republican parties, will vote.
Is anything being done? Is that more than normal or less than normal?
It's a little more than normal. The average is usually in the high 20s or low 30%.
And since this is sort of a more hotly contested presidential primary than we've seen in a while, are you expecting anything different at the polls this year as far as lines or anything like that?
I don't think so. It's interesting that both sides are contested. Usually it's one or the other. I don't see any. I can't foresee anything that's going to be anything different than what we normally see. Just a little busier.
At some of the rallies, there have been clashes between supporters of the different candidates. Is there anything in place to protect against anything like that getting out of hand?
Well, in each election district, there's the possibility you could have a deputy constable. That's part of the system. Probably in about 1,000 election districts out of the 1,300, there is a deputy constable present. If something does happen, the judge of election could always call the local police, and the Court of Common Pleas is open on Election Day to hear any election disputes, and they can send deputy sheriffs out to enforce court orders in case the situation gets out of control.
Now, in Pennsylvania, in the primary, what's the situation for independent voters?
Independent voters would be permitted to vote on any ballot questions. And as I speak right now, there are 2 constitutional amendment questions on the ballot. The first one concerning the judicial retirement age has been on, off. We're less than 2 weeks before Election Day. I still don't know whether it's going to be on.
Wow. What was the deadline to register to vote for this?
March 28th.
Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I give about as many facts and figures as I can get off the top of my head right now.
How many registered voters in Allegheny County?
Oh, about 875,000.
Do you know what the breakdown is for Republican, Democrat, Independent? Yes.
Rough numbers: 500,000 Democratic, 250,000 Republican, and about 100,000 Independents.
And do you know by what time you expect to have the results in on election night or the next day?
I would think we'd start seeing results being posted to the website by 8:45 or 9 o'clock. By 10, we should have over 90% of the precincts in. And if all goes well, by midnight, we'll have completed tabulation.
And how does the data get from the voting machines to the place where you're tabulating?
Well, there is a cartridge that is used to activate the machine in the morning, and that's placed in every time before a voter is admitted. That same cartridge is also used to collect the votes at the end of the night at each polling place. The cartridge is then taken to one of our 7 regional centers where we have readers that read that, and we transmit that over a telephone line to our election central, for want of a better term, and that's the database is updated there.
Anything else that you want to ask?
Nah, I think that's about it.
Great.
Do you want to thank him?
Thank you for your time.
Sure.